Thank you, Christine, for accepting to talk to us today. This is the sound of the legends. Please tell us a bit more about yourself, your background, and how it inspired your writing career.
I started my journey of being an author because I was able to discover my purpose for my stories. So I know what it is to be in a state where you are questioning what is life. What are your contributions to your community? What are your contributions to life? What are your talents? What are your giftings? You know, because I've been in that position where I had to question a lot of those things. And when I started writing my first book, How I Discovered My Purpose, that book took me on a journey. You know, I was actually writing that book without even having a knowledge of what my own purpose was. You know, God just said, write the book. And when I started writing, that's when I started discovering what my purpose was. So that was the first book I wrote. And the second book was a devotional focused again on purpose. The third book is a storytelling book, poetry book, because my purpose is connected to stories. You know, I tell not only my stories, but the stories of my community. You know, because I believe in storytelling being a powerful tool. You know, we are where we are today because of the stories that we heard of our families, of our friends, you know, of others who have done things. You know, stories have the power of transforming a community. Because when you hear the stories of resistance, the story of pushing through challenges of that others have experienced, it encourages you, it motivates you. You know, it gives you that extra strength. It makes you hang in there one extra day. So that's the power of stories, and that's why I wrote the third book on storytelling and poetry.
What is today's event all about?
Today we are having a book signing and author presentation at the Lancaster Art Vault, you know, in Lancaster, PA. The whole purpose of this event is to give an opportunity to the Lancaster community to discover 3 Black women authors and to just find out a little bit more about the books. You know, we have an author who deals with preservation, you know, another who deals with education, and then me. So we just wanted to introduce ourselves to the Lancaster community, to all fellow book lovers, storytelling lovers, art lovers, you know, to be able to come out and support.
What are some of the challenges that writers face?
For aspiring authors, when you ask them what challenge they're facing, they would always say, well, it's difficult to get inspired to write a book. You know, I was actually talking to an aspiring author yesterday, and he was saying he can't get himself to write in a book. You know, it's just too tedious. But when you write that first book, you find out pretty quick that writing the book and editing and publishing is actually very easy. The toughest part is actually getting people interested in your book to the point of buying it. You know, the toughest thing for authors right now is to let others see value in the books, because you don't want someone to just buy your book. You want someone to buy the book, read it, and hopefully connect with the story and then learn something from it. So authors, every author you meet would always say their book is the best, you know, but ultimately authors have to be able to show to their clientele, show to the audience, show to people that there's value in purchasing this book. And I think that that's what is most difficult. You know, people really don't buy books, people don't read, people, you know, don't see the value in getting books. So that's the challenge for authors today, is to increase readership. You know, readership is a tough one, especially in our Black communities. You know, it's tough to have people read books. You know, so I think that that's the challenge for today's authors, is really to increase readership among Blacks, among our communities.
You wrote a book about finding your purpose. Please tell us more about this book.
Okay. Yeah. How I discovered my purpose is for everyone really who is on a journey towards discovering their purpose. The book provides stories. The stories in the book guidelines on how you can discover your purpose, how you can start that journey, because everybody wants to be fulfilled in life, and we tend to look at different sources for fulfillment. But really, the ultimate source of fulfillment is when you are operating in your purpose. So in times like this, especially in times like this, where people can be questioning, what can I do? What can I do in my community? What can I even change something in the world? I'm just one person. Well, the answers to those questions lies in your purpose. That's why it's important now than ever before to discover your purpose, to find out how to utilize your gifts and your talents to make a difference in your community, in your family, and ultimately in your own life. So that is for how I discovered my purpose. For our voices, stories have power to transform. Through stories we learn that we are all the same. Through our voices, I'm trying to pass on a message that grief it's everybody feels grief, no matter your skin color, no matter where you're originally from, and the way we process grief ultimately is the same. So when you hear the stories of other people from other areas, from other communities, from other countries, from other races, it's so that we can come together. Those stories are meant for you to look at the other person, not through the lens of what society wants us to look at that person, not through the lens of color, not through the lens of origin, but through the lens of this is someone just like me. And through our voices, I'm hoping that we can have open discussions, we can have more empathy towards the journey and the struggles of our neighbors and others.
You have raised a very important point about how stories can change the society. What is it that authors can do to drive social change in the society?
Definitely, authors can capture the stories of those that are going through, through the war and through other situations. The ability to be able to put emotions into words and let those words affect change is very powerful. It's a talent, it's a gift not to take lightly. So in moments like this, no matter the challenging situation, if it's war, if it's economic crisis, if it's whatever, racism, discrimination, whatever the situation is, authors have a responsibility to capture those in their writings, because when they write about it, they can bring change, and someone reads it, it can affect change in the society.
There may be individuals out there with a burning desire to write. Please talk to them.
I would say, yeah. If you have a story to share, if you have that book in you, definitely write it. Writing, especially your first book, it's a journey. It's a journey of self-discovery. I can guarantee you, when you start writing that first book, you will not be the same person again. So definitely write the book, publish it, get that experience, and then you can decide for yourself if this is a path you want to follow. There are people that are authors full-time. There's some of us that are part-time authors, So once you finish writing that first book, you can know which direction you're going. Are you going to be full-time or are you going to be part-time? But definitely, if you have a story in you, share it.
For an ordinary person, a book is just a book, just words. Do these words mean anything?
Words have the power to change lives. You know, so when we do events like this, it's not only an opportunity to showcase authors, but it's an opportunity we are giving to the community to expand, you know, their exposure, to learn from different authors with different cultural backgrounds. When you open yourself to that, when you set yourself up to learn from others, you know, it adds to your quality of life. So authors are really adding to the quality of life of their communities.
Now I want you to talk to the sponsors.
We are in times when reading is really a challenge. Like people, I mean, if you look at statistics, children are not reading like they should be reading. Adults are not reading like they should be reading, and it's very dangerous, you know, for generations of people not to read, you know. So if we have sponsors listening to this message, I would encourage them, you know, to reach out, to make it a priority to support reading. Again, support readership, especially in our children. Our children have to grow up to be adults who read, and even to be children who read.
How has the digital transformation affected the reading and writing culture?
Yes, I mean, in everything, in every change, in every technology, there's the good, the bad, the ugly, you know. Even though technology has facilitated to some degree writing, but it has made reading tough, especially reading volumes, you know. Now people want to get to the message short, quick, you know. For some people, 100 pages, that's too much to read. So authors are being challenged over and over again to compress, you know, their work into fewer pages so that people can, you know, read. We are in a generation where everybody wants it fast, and it is challenging because, you know, how do you compress a 300-page book into, say, a 25 or 50? You know, but that's the challenge that authors have to overcome, because that's where we are right now. You know, there's nothing we can do about it. But yes, that's the challenge with the new technology and everything.
Many people have a problem with time management. How do you balance your time between the many things you do and your creative work?
How do you balance your time and your creative work? That's a good question. For somebody like me, I have a lot of things. I'm a small business owner. I run a non-profit. I'm a mother. You know, then I'm an author. So I think how you do is that in life everything comes in seasons. You know, and you have to know the season you're in. You know, if there's a season for you to write, then you focus on writing. The issue sometimes is when we try to do things in different seasons or in seasons that are not appropriate for that. You know, like if you're trying to write in a season when you're not supposed to be writing, when you're in a season to work on something else, it's going to appear tedious and you will not be at your best level. So you really have to be sensitive to the season you're in. Like I don't write all the time, but when is that season to write, I could take a week and write tons of pages. So it really depends on the season you're in. So for new authors, I would say be sensitive to know which season you're in and to flow in that season. If it's a season of writing, go, give it your best shot, focus everything on it. If it's a season to rest. If it's a season to work on something else, work on something else.
Finally, give us your parting shot.
No, really, just want to encourage everyone to find their purpose, to live a purpose-filled life. You know, even no matter the challenges they are faced with, you know, to keep the faith, to keep the focus, you know, to use their talents and to make a difference wherever they are.